What's up, everybody? New Beast and Billions episode. I'm with my boy JR. What's up, man?
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's hot out here in Florida, man.
Yeah, it's starting to get like that here. Really humid. I mean, probably not as humid as Florida, but you go outside and you feel like you just stepped into a steam sauna.
Heck yeah, and it's like 90 degrees right now. And we in the gym is at the gym doesn't we don't have AC, so it's like it's hot. You know what I
That's,
mean?
yeah, for sure. How's training been going?
Our training's good. I took a week off after the fight. I'm getting back into it. Can't really do any sparring right now because I still have stitches in my lip.
hmm
But other than that, back in training is back in training. You know.
So now that you've had two fights in BKFC, what I mean, you're kind of like you know how the whole show rolls. Is it a good show, well produced show?
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely put on an awesome show. I feel like this last show, BKFC 25, like that venue in Orlando, it's a good venue, and how they produced it was awesome. Even better than one that they had in Tampa.
Yeah, so you obviously have one win and one loss. So coming off of the win, I mean, you starched that guy. I mean, there was, starched him. And so, and I know we kind of talked after that, and I think we're both pretty confident that you're gonna get a belt wrapped around your waist eventually. Uh,
Definitely.
but coming off of a fight that did not necessarily go your way, what's kind of the thought process going after that and bouncing back?
Obviously, I wish I would have got the win. For those that watched it, like it was a back and forth fight. One of the things that leading up to the fight, like the day of the weigh-in, he didn't make weight. Like
Right.
like whenever they called me in to do my official weigh-in, I see his coach running behind me, running to the commission. They're like, hey, that's Daniel's coach there. He wants to see you weigh in because he's outside running because he's a little overweight. I was like, cool, whatever. I get on the weight. I get on the scale on 125 exactly what I put on. I signed up for my contract.
Right.
So I was like right on weight. He goes out. His coach leaves. Like I'd say about 45 to an hour later. Like they come up to me and they're like, Daniel didn't make his weight. He weighed this much. It was like 128.9. Yeah, 128.9. They're like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I want some of his money. I want, I want some of his purse. But before we make any decisions, make his ass go run. You know what I mean? Like he still has the time to sweat it out. Like I'm a professional. He's a professional. This is his debut at 125. He's never fought at that weight before. He needs to sweat it out. He has plenty of time. And they're like, oh, like the doctor checked him out. They said that if he keeps on going, that his kidneys are going to shut down. Like he's going to die. Like it was one of those. Like he was having trouble. Like he probably shouldn't be. He probably shouldn't be fighting at that weight because he's such a big guy. If he gets there, he gets there. Shout out to him. But long story short, they're like, "What do you want to do?" Like the doctor said no. Now he like it's either you take a percentage of his purse, or it's your choice if you want to fight or not. And I'm like, they're like, well, the thing is, you won't get paid either if you don't fight. And I'm like, all right, how much am I going to get for his purse? And they're like, you're going to get this much. And I was like, all right. I was like, okay, let's go ahead and I'll sign off on it and let's do it.
Right.
So I ended up, fighting. It ended up being a good fight, good show. It was back and forth. Unfortunately, I got cut. Doctor stopped stopped it. But moving forward, to answer your question, I can't fight for 3 months because it was a doctor stoppage and I had stitches. So, I want to be back. I want to fight like as soon as I'm released off of my, my suspension or whatever.
Yeah.
And whoever they give to me, we'll obviously look it over and this and that. But it's just like, it was just an unfortunate fight that didn't go my way.
Right.
There in Orlando. It was a good fight. I was looking at an article on Box Rec. I don't know if you know that website. It's basically like Tapology.
Mm-hmm.
It has everybody's like records and fight details on there. They posted an article. The judges had me up on the scorecards until the fourth round and then the doctor stoppage.
Right.
And I was surprised on that. Like when I was fighting, I knew it was definitely a battle. It was back and forth. Like there was a time where I was like, he definitely beat me this round. And I would say I think it was probably the third round. And then fourth round came around, and then I got the eye. I couldn't even see. But yeah, I couldn't. When I looked at the article, I couldn't believe that I was up on the scorecards. But whoever they put in front of me, like I'm going to destroy, man. Like I'm going to really hurt that person, and I feel sorry for them. Like whoever it is, and if they see your podcast, I'm sorry for them now.
Yeah.
Because it's something different because I was expecting to win, and unfortunately, it just didn't happen.
Yeah, there's a few things. Bare-knuckle, the cuts, like I watch the bare-knuckle stuff too, and you see some gnarly cuts. Like, you can see the UFC and like getting slashed open with elbows. Like those get gnarly too. But bare-knuckle cuts, like those are nasty. And they're so frequent too. And so I think that's why, I don't know, it's like a very different experience seeing those cuts. And secondly, I think it's such a weird game we play because it's like we get our hands wrapped and we step into a cage, a ring, whatever it is, and we're trying to really cause as much damage to another person that we don't even particularly know, and it's like such a weird game we play, and it's like it's barbaric, but at the same time it's like, violence has been around since humans have been around, and there's always going to be a market for that. And I just feel like it's such a weird game, and you have to have like a dark side to you. Like I know like a lot of people who don't get where we come from, they don't understand it, but like me and you both know, like we're not shitty people. We just like, it's kind of like but you still have to have a dark side to you, because at the end of the day, you're trying to cause so much harm.
Right. It's like somebody was telling me the other day, they're like, you're like a nice guy. Like you don't, like, I can't believe that you do bare-knuckle. And, sometimes I tell them, I'm like, yeah, sometimes I don't believe it at times that I'm a bare-knuckle fighter.
Right.
But like with any sport, even whenever back in the day, whenever I was a Sancho guy, like fighting, you literally do have to flip a switch in your head. And like the people that have it, they have it. The people that don't, they don't. And some people freeze, or especially like in the amateurs coming up, like the ones that really succeed, that make it through the amateurs all the way into the pros, is that they're able to have a controlled chaos. I tell people that I train too. It's like, you don't have to fight. You don't, but you can train and make your skill 100% the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's up to you if you have that fight inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's definitely a controlled chaos.
Yeah, for sure. And then it's like, And then there's like my mom. We were watching some fights the other day, and she brought up. She was like, "I just don't understand how you can go in there, and you can fight somebody you don't even know." And I countered that with, I would rather fight somebody I've never met before and I don't know anything about than someone I know and either I hate or I love, because you're either way you're going to be emotional. Like if you're fighting someone you know and love, then you're going to wobble them, and then you're not going to put the nail in the coffin and put their lights out when you can. And on the other side, if you're fighting somebody you hate, then you're going to fight emotionally, and then you're going to leave the opportunity to get counterpunched and get knocked out yourself. So personally, I would rather fight somebody who I've never met before and I don't have any relation to, because I don't feel bad for them and I don't feel anger for them at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you 100% on that, because it's like my girlfriend asked me one time. She was like, how can you like have a during the weigh-ins the day before, like during all the leading up stuff, like how can you be so cool and calm, and then like when you're walking out to on stage to the fight, and like when you're in the fight, like how are you a crazy man basically? Like how do you turn that on? And it's weird, just like how you said, it's like somebody that you don't want to like intentionally hurt, because they're a nice guy, good family guy, whatever.
Yeah.
You respect them, or it's a guy that you hate, or somebody that's really disrespected you, and you're just going to go in there and fight with emotion. It's almost goes back to how I was talking about, like a controlled chaos. It's the fact that you can take every bottled up thing in your head that fueled the fire within, to use that as encouragement to beat someone before they beat you.
Right.
That's how I kind of put it together and help people kind of understand like where my mind's at. Like we're people, like we go through things ourselves. Like I pick certain pieces of things that we go through and kind of use that as fuel while I'm in that ring, to like give me that extra controlled chaos.
Yeah. And I think another thing that a lot of people don't understand is most times you're gonna have nerves before a fight. Like there's just something about it. Like some people skydive for adrenaline, but the walking out to a fight and knowing that you're gonna go to war with this guy is something that is unmatched. And then even the day before, looking him in the face and you're like, I know I'm gonna fight this guy. And that's why like long training camps suck too, because if you have an 8-week training camp, then you have 8 weeks to think about this guy. And if you're not mentally like strong, then you're gonna stay up at night and you're gonna wonder about all these things that your mind shouldn't be worried about. And so a lot of people think that fighters are just fearless, which in a sense we are, but at the same time, no matter who you are, you're going to have some nerves walking out to a fight, especially, looking them in the face and just knowing them, like, I'm going to fight you tomorrow. And, just everything building up to it is very unique, because you're practicing 8 weeks for one night against one guy. And you got to think about that. And and then some people overtrain because of it. You go on an extra run because I'm gonna have the best cardio, and then just so much happens and you overtrain, and then you overtrain, and then that's not you're not peaking. So it's like you got to find a happy medium, but also it's just such a weird game we play.
It is, and like going off of what you were saying, like it's an 8-week or 6-week, whatever length camp that you do, it's always like peaks and valleys, and like you can have a great week during your training camp, 1 week during sparring, whatever, and then the next week comes around, like sparring, like you're just not clicking, And like, so it's, the emotions are up, the emotions are down. Then you got your own personal life. Like if you're in a relationship, like if there's, if you guys have an argument, this and that, or like financially, like something's going on in your head. Like if you don't have all those things in line throughout your camp, or if you don't have somebody to support you and understand the process that you go through, it's tough. You know what I mean? It's definitely tough. And if you can't, I've done it for such a long time that even the things that I like prepare for like your training camp, try to get finances in line, like whatever in line, like that you need, or making sure you grocery shop on Sunday so you can have your food for the entire week and not skip a day, and like everything, and anything. It's bound to something always happens.
Yes.
And you've got to be able to get through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then one thing that I was telling my girlfriend, it's that nobody understands a fight. Like fighters are the only people, athletes are the only people. We're the only people that understand what it is that we actually go through. I mean, it's sacrifice, it's the diets, like it's spending time with, friends and loved ones. It's putting your body through hell each and every single day. And then you have to make sure you're resting. So it's hard. And I've told her, I'm like, fighters are the most emotional people that you'll ever meet because we take our craft very seriously. And our skills and our talents aren't just skills and talents. Like we have to continue to sharpen them, to keep grinding during these training camps, so we don't get ourselves beat up during the fight. And then, people forget, like training is the biggest part of the fight. The fight is just now you can finally release everything. But still, if like you're not focusing on everything that you need to be doing in your training camp, plus not overtraining, then you can't peak when you need to during your fight. But yeah, fighters are very emotional people. Like anybody in combat sports is an emotional person because it's it's an emotional thing because it's you by yourself in there with another human being.
Yeah. And I think another thing is like, if, there's some people where like, if one thing goes wrong, then everything goes wrong. And especially like the last thing you want to think about is like an argument you and your girlfriend had 2 days before the fight. It's like, that's the last thing you want to think about. And it's just so crazy.
Exactly. And it happens. And it freaking happens sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's just not smooth, and like, like the day that I was supposed to be in Orlando, of course, things aren't moving smoothly. And then, me and my girlfriend are bickering, and then my teammate Ryan that fought on the same night as I did, he ended up winning. Shout out to Ryan Reber. But we're trying to scramble, get everything situated, and it's just a mess. It's just a mess. And then I don't want to think about, once we get to Orlando, I don't have to think about I've got to still drop another 6-7 pounds in the sauna. It's just like, and then plus I can't eat much. I can't drink. I'm cutting out the water. It's just those types of things you don't want in the back of your head whenever you're trying to finish your weight cut.
Yeah. Well, when you're stressed out, the weight doesn't come off as easy. Like,
exactly.
And it's just weird. And another thing is athletes in general, Baker Mayfield said this. He's like, I get booed a lot, and I just wish just for one day I could show up to fans' cubicle and just boo the shit out of them for not doing their job right, and just give them all kinds of hell. And then they'll know how I feel if I don't make a throw, or in this case, you lose, you get knocked out, or you get submitted, or whatever, however you lose. You get booed and get made fun of, and all these idiots in the comment section who have never even thrown a punch in their life, or have gotten punched in the face. They've never gotten their hands wrapped. They've never stepped foot into a gym, saying, and saying whatever and just being dumb, you know. And it's like, let me show up to your job, and when you fail, then um when you show up to your, well, let me show up to your job, and then we'll see, you know, we'll see what really happens, because you know nobody else has to deal with that besides athletes and actors, of course, just public figures in general. Nobody else has to deal with criticism for their office job. They're doing a shitty job, you know. They don't ever deal with that.
Yeah, like they don't deal with that because we're always getting. I mean, athletes, fighters, actors, just like you said. It's like there's always critics in the stands. There's always comments from the peanut gallery. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, like you have no idea, man. He's like that's why I don't go to the bars to go watch the UFC fights, man. I don't go to Hooters. I hate that because people that are there, they don't know shit about boxing. They don't know shit about MMA, but they do think they know. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I can't stand it. Like over the years, I just can't stand it anymore.
Yeah, no, I watch pretty much every fight by myself. I'm just like in my own sanctuary. I can't deal with people because I posted this on my story the other day where it was Ton Lee and his trainer, and Ton Lee was getting beat up on bottom, and then the trainer was like, just get up, just get up. And then he was like, stop, stop, stop. And he's like, I'm trying to get up. Like, I'm trying to. It's not that simple. And it's like, that's really a thing, especially in MMA, not necessarily in boxing, but in MMA, like you face a high level grappler and you get put on your back. You don't just get up. Like, it's just not that simple. Like, this guy is a master at his craft. You can't just get up. You know, he's worked tirelessly to hold people down, you know, the same way you know, the strikers work tirelessly to manage distance and find angles, you know. It's the same thing. And so it's just like super annoying. And not to mention, I really like what Derek Lewis did, because after he got beat up one time, he offered an open invitation to his gym. And like, he was like, if you think I suck and you think, you know, you can do what I do, just come to the gym, sign a waiver, and then you can give me your best. And 3 dudes showed up and 3 dudes left unconscious. So
that's awesome. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's great. I think it helped. It didn't really help anything, but you know, I don't think, and you know, obviously there's some people, like, you have polarizing figures like Conor McGregor, who's on like a 4-fight losing streak, and still, like, you know, everyone loves him. Nobody really talks about how he's on a 4-fight losing streak. Just everyone wants to watch Conor McGregor fight. And so you have kind of guys like that, but in that same sense, you also have idiots that, you know, that just because he's on a 4-fight losing streak against, you know, killers who like nobody else can beat, you know, let's not like act like Conor McGregor didn't box Floyd Mayweather for 8 rounds and do just fine. Or, you know, let's not, he's an athlete, and if he fights anyone outside of the top 10 of the UFC, he's going to murder them, you know? And it's just like, it's just really a thing that really gets me going.
Right.
And another thing is the media, like media in general, like when Stephen A. Smith came in, and when Conor knocked out Cowboy, and he was like, Cowboy just gave up. Cowboy, you know, had no match in there. And it was like, Cowboy's been in wars. Cowboy doesn't just give up.
Yeah. He was having that was just a bad day for Cowboy. I don't know what was going on. But yeah, like Stephen A. Smith pissed me off, man. He pisses me off.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, the day he leaves the media is the day I think a lot of people will be relieved and happy, for real.
I saw a video of him hitting mitts one time.
Oh,
I thought I was gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah, I had AJ Fletcher on last week. Well, it's airing tomorrow, and he was like, we were talking about it, and he literally was like, you know, that video, Stephen A. looked like he was tossing a pizza.
it was so cringy that I had to turn away from it. It was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. And it's like, and it just further proved why this guy has no right to say anything about anyone as far as combat sports goes. Basketball,
Exactly.
whatever. But combat sports is a whole different animal. And like, I play football, and if we lose a game, we lose week 1. All right, we just got to bounce back week 2 and 3, right? If you lose a fight, you know, it's different. And not to mention, even if you have a shitty season, the record resets next year. So then you're 0-0 and you have another run out. With a fight, you have that one loss until you retire.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't go away.
Right. And most times, you know, and it, you know, especially in boxing, you know, you got to fight, you know, 20 bums to get, and then you start fighting a good name. And if you get one loss, then you're never heard about again. You're just forgotten about.
Right.
You know, and MMA,
unless you've got amazing management.
Yeah, exactly. Or unless you're like Canelo, who's like 40 something and won. Your only loss is to Floyd Mayweather, and now I guess Bivol now. But you know, then you can afford to lose one. But until then, you can't really lose one. You know, like Deontay Wilder. Has anyone heard what he's been doing? Like,
What's he been doing lately?
I don't know.
He's
But
been
yeah, he's just been quiet. I think he fought since, but nobody, like, his hype's out the window. You know, he lost 2 times, and now no one cares about what he's doing anymore. And it's like, it sucks that that's the way it is, especially in boxing. MMA, not so much. You know, MMA, you know, you got guys with like 5-4, and they're making their UFC debut, and it's like, you're almost 500. How does this work? But you know, but especially in boxing, you know, boxing is really like that.
Yeah, Deontay Wilder, like, I mean, he is not even that great of a boxer. Like, he's just a strong, athletic guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, his 2 losses against Tyson Fury, Fury's just a way better boxer. Like, exactly. He is a smart, intelligent boxer, man.
Yeah. I mean, the way he, I mean, Fury is just on a different level. He doesn't move like a heavyweight. Like Deontay Wilder is like your typical heavyweight, you know, kind of stuck in the mud, just throws power shots. Fury's not like that. Like, he moves.
Yeah.
And he's technical.
Shots, very technical.
Very technical. And he fights behind his jab, which is very, very important. You don't see many heavyweights fighting behind a jab. You know, they might throw like 2 jabs and then just try to take your head off, you know?
Like Wilder.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what heavyweight boxing is. Like, and then like the Francis Ngannou, Tyson Fury boxing match, I feel like if it was any other heavyweight, then I would be all for it. But Tyson Fury is gonna box his head off of him.
Yeah, dude. Unless Ngannou knocks him out with a lucky shot.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't.
Is it set in stone? Is it contract signed for that?
No, I think Ngannou's still recovering from his knee surgery.
Oh, okay.
But you know, to say Tyson Fury, I don't like. I'm not even comfortable to say that Francis Ngannou hits that much harder than Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
And you know, but they want to do it with 4-ounce gloves, which is an awful idea for Francis. But and Tyson Fury has proven, like, if you drop him, he's gonna get back up. Like, like
he came back from the dead.
Yeah, literally, he was unconscious, I'm pretty sure, and just woke up. You know, although, you know, there's some speculation that 10 count was a little, you know, prolonged. You know, it was a longer 10 count. But still, I don't care if you get knocked out and you just wake up and get back up and go back. And I think that was when he tied or won. I don't know. It was one.
Yeah, that fight, it was a draw.
Yeah. So still, I mean, that's a win in my book. If I get knocked out and I wake back up and fight back to a draw, you know, it's kind of hard to say that I lost that.
Yeah. Well, he was beating up Fury pretty much that whole fight.
Yeah.
He was outpointing him for sure, outboxing him.
Yeah.
And then the second time they fought, like it was done after that.
Yeah, and I think it's also ridiculous how you get like you blame your corner and all this other stuff, you know, blame the gloves, blame this, blame that. Like I feel like if you lose a fight, you just got to take responsibility of it and move on. I mean, if and especially the corner is not going to stop it unless like you're like actually in danger, you know? Like they're not those guys would put just as much time and effort as you did. You know, they've been there every training session. You know, they've put in, you know, not necessarily the blood, sweat, and tears as far as doing the physical activity, but they were there, you know, in the sauna with you, cutting the weight, and you know, they were there with you. So I don't think, you know, a loss on your record looks bad on them too, you know?
Exactly. That's your team.
Yeah. And I mean, especially like some people have like their best friends in their corner, you know, and stuff. So it's like those guys have your best interests at heart. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I got, you know, beat up and my corner stopped it. You know, I might be mad like to the media and stuff, but like deep down, you know, I would be thanking them because, you know, at the end of the day, if they felt like I was getting beat up to a point of no return, then that's, you know, because at the end of the day, that third set of eyeballs is important, because as a fighter, if you're in there, you never really feel like, I'm getting my ass whooped. You're like, all right, you know, I'm in here. I'm going to figure it out. You know, I may have dropped a few rounds, but I'm still going to figure it out. But, you know, the world, the commentators, everyone else might be seeing a bigger picture because, you know, you're living it. And so you kind of have that bias in your head. You're kind of like stuck in denial a little bit. But at the same time, you know, you still have hope because you're not just going to give up. That's like the worst thing you can do.
Right. Exactly.
So I kind of wanted to shift the topic though and talk about your clothing brand, because I'm trying to get my merchandise and it's kind of annoying. So what started One? What was your like inspiration behind it, and you know, everything? What's the vision for it?
So I've always wanted to like have a cool like clothing line, merchandise. I had a buddy that he's one of my training partners. He's been doing this stuff for years, and he's got like 6 e-commerce stores that he runs, and he does pretty well for himself. And I was like asking like, hey man, how'd you get your clothing line started? And he was like, I did this. I was like, okay. But then I kept on asking questions. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Like, will you help me? He's like, sure, whatever you need. And then so he helped me get it started. And the idea behind One is that, you know, in some of my branding, it's, you know, find your one. It's just like you need to find your one motivation to keep you going, whether it's a fight, whether it's in the gym, whether it's lifting weights, whether it's just getting your butt out of bed in the morning. Like, what is it that gets you motivated? So right. Find your one. So I just kind of ran with that. Like, it's more, my brand is more of like a streetwear, active wear. I've got like, you know, women's stuff. I've got sports bras, leggings, yoga shorts, but it's mostly, you know, a lot of t-shirts, a lot of like, nothing crazy with the designs. It's super streamlined. I just dropped my second collection off of the brand. The first collection was dope because my nickname is the Lion. Mm-hmm. So I had a Lion collection under the brand. That the men's line of it was Lion, obviously, and then the women's side of it was the Lioness. But I just dropped the second collection off the brand. It's called the Icon collection. Mm-hmm. And basically what that is the old greats, like the icons from back in the day, like Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, and, you know, Mike Tyson. So they're an icon in my eyes. You know, they weren't just icons in sports. Like, they were icons. Like, whenever even outside the ring. You know what I'm saying? Roy Jones Jr., he's one of the greatest styles of all time to me, in my opinion. He's an icon in my eyes. I wish him and Mike Tyson would have fought, whenever they were both in their primes, like Roy Jones Jr. is a knowledge of the game, and he's an icon. So it's like I take those types of guys, then I mix them into my brand. Mm-hmm. So the icon shirts, it's a lot of the icons, Joe Frazier's, Roy Jones Jr.'s, Muhammad Ali's, and then I put a quote I put one of their quotes on the back of the shirt. So I kind of make it, I make it kind of personalized as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I see them on Instagram and I'm like, those are super cool. Those are super cool. So what went into it to finding like a distributor and designing it all? Like, do you design it all yourself or?
Yeah, I do all the designs myself. I use a couple different, I actually use Canva to design my designs, my fonts. Uh-huh. Then I find obviously pictures like right. how you saw, like that I get off the internet that aren't licensed because you get in trouble for that. But all the fonts and all the different thing that you see, I designed that on Canva. Canva is actually super easy to use. Yeah, I made my business cards through Canva. Like, it's just super easy, super streamlined, and anybody at any level can figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
So I use that as to use for my fonts. Then all my stuff is print on demand. So I don't have enough money to buy in bulk.
Right.
And I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, you got to have some money. You got to have some capital.
Oh, for real.
So,
yes.
To be able to have an inventory.
Yes.
So obviously that would be the long-term goal. Keep growing the brand, but it's print on demand. I use my e-commerce store is actually on Shopify, and I use Printful a lot to print my shirts and products. And there's other companies I use too, as well, but mostly Printful.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually kind of funny you use Canva because Canva is literally so easy to use. That's what I use to create, the designs for my shirts. And then also like thumbnails and all that kind of stuff. Like it is actually super easy to use.
Easy. So easy, man. Like at first I was like, I don't even want to start messing with this because like I know it's gonna be complicated. As soon as I started messing with it, I'm like, what? I'm a designer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, you want me to design a flyer for you? I got you.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a professional. And then people are like, dang, that looks so good. You're really good at this. I'm like, dude, if you only knew.
Yeah.
Like, it's just plug and play, my man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you how I did it, but it's that easy.
Yeah, no, really. It actually is.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're gonna pay me next time for this, pal.
Yeah, but the thing I found about Canva is you can design a shirt on Canva, but they're like $40 a piece. And like, that's just ridiculous. And then like, how are you going to price that? Like if you were to print one, how are you going to price that? You're finding you're going to find a hard time, getting people to pay $50 for a shirt.
Yeah, man. Like what you need to do if you're looking to like keep going with yours, dude, you should definitely go through Shopify. Because you can create your website on there.
Right.
Yeah. And then you just pay like, a monthly fee to have your website keep going. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, have you looked into any of that stuff for your stuff?
Yeah, no, I looked into Shopify, Printify, both of those things. And then I have my Squarespace website that's published and out. So I'm kind of looking to I'm trying to figure out a way to integrate them both, because I already have like a website where you can go and you can look at every podcast and you know, like the media work I do and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily want to forfeit that, because it's not like I don't want to start a clothing brand where, you know, there's like you have, like, I just want you to be able to buy merch. Like that's kind of where I'm at. And then, you know, obviously maybe that'll grow into where I, you know, I start having bigger drops, you know, but I kind of just want to start off with like having like 2 or 3 different shirts that, you know, people can buy to support the channel. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking into. I'm just trying to find a distributor, but I think Printify, I saw something about print on demand. That's kind of what I'm going to too, because I also don't want to mess with warehousing and, you know, having all kinds of shirts laying around. It's like, all right, you buy it and then they'll do it and send it to you. That's just way easier for me.
Way easier. It takes all the thought process out of it. It takes all the stress. They take a percentage, you get a percentage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not like it's being outrageous with the percentage, you know.
Exactly. And you know, it's for the business-minded people that want to start small. It helps them build their money, and then eventually, if it takes off anywhere, then they'll be able to do their own warehouses. So, yeah.
But
one day that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and at the same time though, you also got to think like if you print mass, then you're making like 50 trips to a post office too to mail them all out. Like it's just way easier to let somebody else do it and just pay someone else to do it. So then you're not sacrificing training or, you know, whatever else you have going on that's like kind of more important than, you know, a t-shirt.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's just nice whenever, you know, you come across your email, you know, so-and-so bought this much, like you have an order for this much. And then like, I didn't do any thought on it. I just maybe spent a couple hours on designs. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's way easier. So I also wanted to ask, are you into crypto? Are you into any of that?
I'm not. And people are like, you need to. I'm like, well, dang it. I should probably do more research and get on there and this and that.
Well, crypto's kind of taking a dump right now.
Oh, is it? Okay,
yeah.
then
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is down so much money. I mean, but you know, it's like, what side do you want to be on? This is good for people who, you know, don't necessarily know anything and you want to get in low and then watch it skyrocket, because crypto can do that. You know, because we're also going into recession with like the stock market. Like any type of investment is really kind of taking shit right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, you know, all the stocks are down, and, you know, this is good because, you know, they're going to go back up, especially like, you know, like the S&P 500 or like the trust funds, the ETFs. And then also like, you know, businesses like Tesla and, you know, Apple, Microsoft, those kind of businesses, we all know like they're going to go back up. They might not skyrocket to where they once were, of course, but they're going to go back up. So if you're, so I take it you're not really in the stock market either?
Hold on one second, my man. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. My AirPods, they just died.
Oh, you're good.
We're going into the trainer's room now. Boom. Yeah, so I thought about a buddy of mine works for a company that does crypto, and they sponsor a lot of fighters.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the company, but like if I look into it or if I follow up with it, obviously I'm gonna do more research. But it's a great company. They take care of the fighters. You might even know who I'm talking about.
Is it are you talking about the Marshall Rogan in you?
Yeah, dude. Yep.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, every fighter, especially UFC fighters, they're that's big. I'm not sure exactly what it does, but I know kind of rough from talking to like the guys at the gym and stuff. Basically, you get like they pay you like money throughout your training camp.
Right. Yeah. They
Uh,
like they wanted to sponsor me before my fight, but I didn't have time. Like, whenever my buddy that works for him, Brandon Lewis, he was actually on the Dana White's Contender fight series or whatever.
okay.
He does some work for him, and they're like, yeah, like we'd love to sponsor him, but like he needs to do all this stuff, send us the videos and stuff, and then like we'll send him whatever he's gonna put on his shorts or his trunks or his banner.
Mm-hmm.
But like I had already finalized all of that. This was literally like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 days before my fight.
Yeah.
So I was like, they're like, you know, let's worry about it, your next fight, and then so on and so forth. But yeah, man, like it's, from what I hear, they do a lot of great things for the fighters, and like it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people get into fighting because they hear of the Conor McGregors, they hear of those kind of guys who just make, you know, a crap ton of money. But in reality, you know, there's not a lot of money in fighting if you think about it. You know, and I think it's going up because, you know, it's starting to be more accepted. But where we are now, we're kind of in a weird period where, you know, you get paid good money, but you're not getting paid, you know, NFL money or NBA money, right? Unless you're like really big, like Conor McGregor, you know, those kinds of blockbuster guys.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was talking to a 4-0 fighter here in Kansas City the other day, and he was like, I got into it because I thought there was money, and I found out real quick there's not a lot of money.
There's not. There can be, obviously, if you do it right, and
yeah,
sponsorships and endorsements, but I'm part of an organization that is, you know, is the top growing combat sports promotion as of now.
mm-hmm.
And the money is pretty good. They pay like they pay pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And David Feldman not too long ago released that all the fighters are gonna have a pension plan, something that Dana White's, you know, not doing for any of the UFC fighters.
Right.
So like David Feldman's really thinking about like all the fighters' futures, and
mm-hmm.
because a lot of, I mean, there are some guys, some big names that, you know, BKFC has signed, you know, just recently that are making some pretty good chunk of change that were already big names in the UFC. Like, you know, what's his name? Chad Mendes. Yeah. Chad Mendes got paid $300,000, I think.
And that's not bad. I mean, when you think about it.
Not bad for one night for doing bare-knuckle. And I don't even think he even really wanted to do it. I think it was just something, an idea. And he's like, you know what? Okay, yeah, I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
but,
I find that like a lot of fighters are just like, they just want to mark it off their list. Like just one bare-knuckle fight and just check it off.
Right. And since Triller's partnered with BKFC, now they're pouring a lot more money into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, man, like I plan to have a longer BKFC career, because some of these guys, man, they go in and you know damn well they're not going to make it more than 2 years, because they don't think, they just want to brawl and get the win. You know, I want to win pretty and keep my face. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some of these guys, man, they get lacerated quick and they keep going and they just bang it out, and there's no reason for that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you can treat these bare-knuckle fights just like a real boxing match, you know? Yeah.
And I think it's good that, you know, at 125 pounds, you know, the guys that you're getting hit by and stuff, those guys aren't as powerful as, you know, a 185-pound guy, or like, yeah. You're not getting hit as hard as, you know, some of these dudes are actually getting pounded. And, you know, that's why like, you know, I like fighting at like lower weight classes, because if you can make the weight, it's ideal, right? Like, if you can make the weight comfortably and and not well, missing weight is just completely unprofessional. But if you can make the weight and not be chinny and and be killing yourself, then that's obviously ideal. That's what weight cutting's there for.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I can't imagine being 200 pounds, hitting somebody at 200 pounds. Can you imagine? That's
no.
that is crazy. You know?
Yeah, no, I sparred with a guy who was like 6'2" and like 190, and I'm only 5'8", like 165 soaking wet. And yeah, I was getting he was clobbering me, and I was like, oh my God, this is a reminder to never try to move up in weight classes.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you. Exactly.
But so I'm actually kind of interested in this because obviously bare knuckle training, you're not you got to condition your wrists and your knuckles to punch someone's face without any covering, because if you most times you're going to break a hand. Have you broken your hand?
I haven't. Thank goodness, not yet. Hopefully it never happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like conditioning it's a little different, man. A lot of these bare knuckle guys, they do certain crazy things like the old Bruce Lee stuff where they're hitting like a 2x4, and there's like all kinds of crazy things that people are doing. Like my buddy was doing had a bucket of sand. He was just hitting the sand and grinding his knuckles. And I get it, like that helps. I haven't done anything crazy, like that, which, even if I, started hitting that 2x4, it would probably make my knuckles and the, bones calcify a little bit. It'd be a harder knuckles, but I just haven't done anything crazy conditioning wise with that. Wrists, I just make sure my coach tapes my wrists good, like, in the fight, because my wrists are weak.
So you guys have your hands wrapped like blue and red for obviously the blue corner, red corner. But what's the point of that? Like, is it just for extra stability on the wrist?
Yeah, stability on your wrist. You wrap your thumb just like how you wrap your hands. Like it's all the way. It's two finger lengths from your knuckles. So it's basically just taped all the way up to your knuckles, your thumb, and then your wrist. So it can't, basically just for the support.
And when you are like hitting mitts or anything, I saw you're wearing, I think, 8-ounce gloves, and MMA sparring gloves. Do you wear boxing gloves, like do you switch through gloves through training camp?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like first part of training camp, I have a pair of like bag gloves that I use, are 12 ounces. I use 12-ounce gloves when I'm hitting the bag and also hitting the mitts. And then like halfway through training camp is when I switch to MMA gloves when I hit mitts. And the only reason why I start off camp with the regular boxing gloves is because it gives weight. You know what I'm saying? It's just the weight.
Yeah.
So halfway through the camp is when I switch through, go to the MMA gloves.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes I'll hit the bag with 16-ounce gloves, which are just extremely heavy gloves. And then I'll take them off and I'll like put on like my 8-ounce sparring gloves and go spar or whatever, or like just hit the double-ended bag, and you feel so much faster.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you've got nothing on.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too. Like when you're, hitting the mitts or whatever during the training with those little tiny MMA gloves, and then when you're out there with no weight on your hands whatsoever, you feel so fast.
Yeah.
Like you feel so fast.
Yeah, it's so crazy because it's just crazy. And I was talking to another fighter about this, is like, humans aren't necessarily put on this planet to like fight other human beings. Like if you look at our origin of us, like we're like strategic hunters. Like, and I learned that in the book, Sapiens, by A Brief History of Humankind. And you know, we're the reason why we've lasted this long is because we're so much more intellectual, and we can, you know, stalk prey, and we're like much more smart, you know, the creation of fire, stuff like that. And you know, so when you think about it, you know, our fists aren't supposed to be getting pushed through somebody else's, you know, cheekbone.
Yeah. Yeah. Like looking at my knuckles, I'm like, dang. Like getting punched bare knuckles, it's a different type of hurt too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's another thing that not a lot of people understand is when you get hit with a good shot, it still hurts. But for the most part, you know, you have adrenaline going, at least in MMA. Obviously, I've never fought bare knuckle. But in MMA, like the only shots that really hurt are like, you know, you get kicked in the liver. You know, maybe you get an elbow slashed across your forehead. But, you know, other than that, and like hard shots where like wobble you, that's the only time you really feel hurt.
Yeah. Like bare knuckles, getting hit in bare knuckles, it's like to the face, it feels, it's like, it's painful, like instant pain. That's
Yeah.
why you swell up quickly, because it's literally bone on bone. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no.
Literally bone on bone. And then when you get sliced, lacerated quick, because it's bone on bone.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's growing so fast, is because people love just seeing blood and gore. You know, in the UFC, I mean, you'll see blood, but you won't see blood like that typically.
Yeah.
But that's all I got. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to. You're off for 3 months, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't fight for 3 months, but I'll get back after the stitches fall out of my lip. I'm gonna get back to like sparring. But
yeah, before or after your next fight, I'd love to have you back on again and chop it up. But like I said, thank you for coming on, and it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Thanks again.
All right, everyone watching, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you later. See ya.